This anime tells the story of a brave adventurer named Rentt, who is exploring a dungeon. He encounters a terrifying monster that appears to be strong, leaving him frightened. The monster has a mouth within another mouth, and when it screams, Rentt realizes he won't survive. The monster approaches, and trembling, Rentt realizes that his dream of becoming a mythical class adventurer will be much more difficult. The monster attacks, and Rentt is bitten by its two mouths. To his surprise, Rentt discovers he is still alive, but his shock intensifies when he realizes he is now just a skeleton. The protagonist reminisces about the past when he was only a human adventurer. Rentt, ranked as bronze, decides to go to the Adventurers Guild with no idea of what awaits him. He is optimistic as he begins another great day as an adventurer. However, upon entering the labyrinth, his life changes forever. In this fully explored and deserted labyrinth, Rentt discovers a secret corridor. Excited by this incredible find, he decides to explore it. Rentt is thrilled at the prospect of making a fortune by reporting this discovery to the guild. However, his lack of discernment prevents him from noticing the obvious signs that this place is extremely dangerous. He finds himself in a room where he ends up being killed by an imposing dragon. When he wakes up, Rentt wonders how he is still alive after being devoured, and the shocking reality hits him when he realizes he is an immortal monster known as an undead. Despite seeming cool, he could be easily defeated with purification magic, as undead are not meant for this world. Aware and with his memories intact, he concludes that he must be alive somehow. Unable to answer all these existential questions, Rentt decides to return to the city, but soon realizes that it will only cause him trouble. Rentt doesn't want to die yet but gets confused when he starts questioning his existence again. Finally, he decides to ignore all his problems and get out of the room as quickly as possible. Upon leaving, Rentt explains the mysteries of the labyrinths. No one really knows where they come from or how they work. There are many around the world, and valuable treasures can be found in them. However, monsters lurk in their corridors. Rentt prepares to fight his doppelganger. He can barely move properly as he feels very heavy. He determines that it must have something to do with the lack of muscles and other things that living people have. He was weak as a human, but now it's worse. These skeletons were easy to defeat when he was human, but now he can barely lift the sword without falling. Rentt panics realizing he is completely vulnerable, but the dumb skeleton is even worse than him. After discovering he can use his spiritual magic, he defeats the skeleton. Rentt decides to find stronger monsters and encounters a slime. After dodging the slime's attack, Rentt counterattacks and is shocked to see that he succeeded. He attributes it to luck in hitting the core but doesn't question his victory and takes a magic stone as a prize. After days of fighting, Rentt evolves into a ghoul. Now, having flesh, Rentt tries to speak but only emits a roar. This was the summary of the first episode of this anime. Until next time.